Evan Brooks sat in the narrow command chair of the small human diplomatic ship and watched another star fade behind them. The ship drifted through open space like a tired traveler with nowhere left to go. He kept his hands on the controls even though the autopilot had been running for hours. It made him feel like he still had some control over the mission, even if the truth told a different story. 3 alien federations had refused their requests. 3 times they had been turned away. 3 times they had been told that humans were too unpredictable, too emotional, too dangerous. And now the weight of all those failures pressed down on him. Lena Rivers sat near the engine monitors, her boots pulled up on the edge of her seat. She was wiping grease from her fingers with a cloth, even though there was almost no work left to do. The ship's systems were stable, but she cleaned them anyway to keep her mind off the silence that filled the ship. She looked at Evan for a moment, then looked away as if she did not want him to see the worry in her eyes. Kyle Porter sat across from them with a small tablet in his hands. He read through files again and again, even though he already knew them by heart. He tried to make sense of every meeting they had attended on each alien world. He studied the words they used, the gestures they made, the tone they spoke in. He wanted to understand what exactly had gone wrong, but every time he reached the end of a report, he only felt more confused. Maya Lane sat beside a wide window, watching the stars rush past in thin silver lines. She had always loved space. She loved the quiet, the mystery, the vastness that stretched beyond anything she could imagine. But now even she felt a heaviness she could not shake. She kept thinking about Earth and the hope she had before this mission began. It was strange to think that only a few months ago, they believed they could build friendships among distant worlds. They believed that someone out there would want to help humanity. But now, as the ship drifted alone through the void, it felt like the galaxy had already made up its mind. None of them spoke for a long time. The ship hummed softly, and the lights glowed with a gentle blue color. It felt peaceful, but the silence was far from calm. It felt like the silence that comes after someone says goodbye. Evan finally broke it. "We have 1 week of food left," he said quietly. "After that, we will have to ration everything harder." Lena set down her cloth. "We should turn back," she said. "We did everything we could. No one wants us out here." Kyle let out a slow breath. "They did not even let us finish speaking," he said. "They looked at us and decided we were a threat before we even opened our mouths." Maya turned from the window. "Maybe they are afraid of what humans might become," she said gently. "Maybe they think it is easier to reject us than risk trusting us." Evan rubbed his forehead. He wanted to argue, but he knew she was right. Every alien leader they met used different words, but the meaning had been the same. Humans were too new, too fast at adapting, too unpredictable. Many alien civilizations had grown slowly over thousands of years. Humans had reached space in only a few centuries. To them, humans were like a storm that could not be controlled. "Even if that's true," Evan said, "it doesn't help Earth. We needed allies. We needed support for the colonies. Without help, some of them won't survive the next few years." Lena leaned back in her seat and closed her eyes. "We tried," she said. "We really did." They all fell silent again. Hours passed. The stars continued to drift. The ship felt smaller with each mile they traveled. Evan thought about sending a message back to Earth, but the distance was too great. A message would take weeks to arrive, maybe months, depending on the relays. And what would he even say? That they failed? That every world had turned its back on them? He did not want to be the one to send Earth more bad news. Kyle stood up and stretched his arms. "I'll check the sensor logs again," he said. "Maybe we missed something." "You already checked them twice," Lena said. "I'll check again," Kyle replied softly. "It's better than sitting and thinking." Maya smiled sadly. "If there's anything to find, Kyle will find it." Kyle walked to the back of the small bridge and started scanning through the long list of sensor reports. He did not expect to find anything new. He was mostly doing it to distract himself. But then, After a few minutes, he noticed something odd. He squinted at the screen. "That's strange," he whispered. Evan looked up. "What is it?" Kyle stepped closer to the screen and tapped a button. A faint signal appeared on the display. It was almost too weak to see. It flickered like a dying star. "I'm picking up a transmission," Kyle said. "It's really old, a format we haven't used in a long time." Lena sat up straight. "Is it alien?" "No," Kyle said. "It's human." Maya moved toward them. "Human? Out here?" Evan stood from his chair and walked over to the screen. The signal looked fragile, like it had been traveling for ages. It carried no ship identification code, no location data, just a simple repeating pattern. "Can you decode it?" Evan asked. Kyle nodded. "I'll try." He worked quietly for a few minutes. The others watched without speaking. The room felt tighter, the air thinner, as if the ship itself was waiting to hear the message. Finally, Kyle stepped back as the decoded signal appeared on the screen. It contained only 2 words. "Come home." Maya gasped. Lena's eyes widened. Evan stared at the words, unable to move. "That can't be real," Lena whispered. "That code hasn't been used since the early expansion years." "It's real," Kyle said. "I triple-checked it. It's definitely human." Maya touched the screen quietly. "But who would send something like that? And why now?" Evan felt a chill run through him. The message felt warm, almost emotional, like someone speaking from a great distance with honesty and hope. But it also felt impossible. No one should be using that code anymore. "Where is it coming from?" Evan asked. Kyle shook his head. "It's so old, it's hard to track. But I think it came from inside our own system, somewhere near Earth." Lena frowned. "Earth sending us a come-home signal? That doesn't make sense. They didn't even know our exact route. Maybe they sent it out on all long-range frequencies," Maya said. "Maybe they were trying to reach anyone still out here." Evan thought about that. It was possible, but it did not feel right. Something about the message felt too personal, too direct. It did not feel like a general signal. It felt like a call. But why? Lena leaned forward. Could it be a trap? Could someone else be copying our old codes? Kyle shook his head. If it were a trap, the code would be newer. This one is ancient. It's so old I had to run it through 4 translation layers just to understand it. Maya stepped back and folded her arms. "I don't think it's a trap." Evan looked at her. "Why not?" "Because it feels like someone is asking for us," she said. "Not demanding, not ordering, asking." Kyle nodded slowly. "That's exactly what it feels like." The 4 of them stood in silence as the message repeated on the screen, over and over again. It felt almost alive, like a heartbeat echoing across space. "Come home, come home, come home." Evan finally took a deep breath and returned to the command chair. He sat down slowly, as if the seat carried a new weight. "We need to decide what to do," he said. Lena sat down as well. "We should go," she said quickly. "If Earth needs us, we can't ignore them." Kyle rubbed the back of his neck. "But what if we return and find out that everything is worse than when we left?" "Then we face it," Lena said firmly. Maya looked from one person to the next. "If Earth is calling for us, we answer. We don't have anywhere else to go anyway." Evan rested his hands on the armrests and thought for a long moment. He had led these people across star systems, into meetings that ended in disappointment, and through dangers most humans never faced. He had watched them stay strong when hope faded, and now, Earth was calling them back. The decision felt heavy, but also right. "Set a course for Earth," Evan said quietly. Kyle nodded and entered the new coordinates. The engines hummed as the ship adjusted its path. Lena checked the power systems, and Maya returned to the window to watch the stars shift around them. As the ship turned toward the distant blue planet, the message played again. "Come home." None of them knew what waited for them on Earth. They only knew that their journey across the galaxy had come to a strange and sudden end, and somewhere, far in the dark, something else took notice of their change in direction. Unseen, Unknown. A silent observer recorded the ship's new course and began to follow. The ship continued forward, chasing the faint and emotional message that had crossed the reaches of space to reach them. For the first time in months, hope flickered inside every member of the crew. They were going home. The ship moved slowly through the familiar space of the solar system. Evan Brooks leaned over the control panel and felt a strange mixture of relief and anxiety. Earth was close, much closer than it had been in years, but it felt unfamiliar. The planet looked the same from space: blue oceans, green continents, white clouds, but there was something different in the way it seemed to glow. He could not explain it. It was as if the world had been waiting for them. Lena Rivers sat beside the engine monitors, her fingers resting lightly on the controls. She had spent weeks imagining what Earth would look like, and now that it was almost in reach, she could hardly believe it. "It looks alive," she said softly. "I don't know why, but it feels alive." Maya Lane, standing at the observation window, nodded. "I feel it too. Something has changed." Kyle Porter was scanning the sensor readings again. "There's a lot of energy in the system," he said. "Not just from the sun. Something artificial. It's unlike anything we've seen before." Evan frowned. "Artificial? You mean human?" Kyle nodded. "I think so. The readings are coming from Earth, and they match nothing any alien civilization could have built." The crew fell silent for a moment, each lost in their thoughts. Months of travel had left them exhausted, and yet this moment filled them with a new kind of tension. They were going home, but they had no idea what awaited them. As they approached Earth, the first signs of change became clear. Long-abandoned space stations, once silent and lifeless, were now active. Small ships moved around the planets in controlled formations, and satellites they had known as children were now larger, more powerful, and glowing with energy. There were no signs of panic, no distress calls, only a strange sense of order. "Earth has been preparing," Evan said quietly. "They've been waiting for something," Maya nodded. "Or someone." The crew kept their ship in orbit near the outer edges of the solar system. They needed to approach carefully, unsure if they would be welcomed or immediately detained. Lena checked the communication systems. "I'm not picking up any active signals," she said. "No one is calling us." Kyle frowned. "It doesn't feel right. If Earth is ready for us, why are they silent?" Evan rubbed his chin. "Maybe they want us to come here ourselves. Maybe that's why they sent the message." Maya looked out the window. "I hope it's not a trap. I don't want to think about what could happen if we misstep." They continued toward the inner system, each of them quiet. As they passed Mars, Lena's eyes widened. "Look at that," she whispered. In orbit around the red planet were massive structures, unlike anything the crew had ever seen. Large rings of energy floated above the surface, glowing softly. Ships moved around them in precise formations. It was a display of power and technology, but also a strange kind of beauty. Even Kyle was speechless. "Humans built this?" Maya asked. "While we were gone?" Evan nodded slowly. "Apparently. They've been working quietly, and we never knew." The ship approached the moon next. There, a complex of buildings and towers stretched across the surface. Lights glowed along the pathways, and small crafts flew back and forth like bees. "They've hidden it all," Lena said, "but now they're ready to show." The crew landed their ship in a cleared area near one of the moon bases. The surface was cold and gray, but alive with activity. People in uniform moved with purpose. Machines hummed and glowed. It was Earth, but it was not the Earth they had left. It was stronger, faster, and smarter. It was a planet reborn. Evan, Lena, Kyle, and Maya stepped out of their ship, feeling a mixture of fear and excitement. They were greeted by a small team of humans, all of them older than when the crew had left, but not unfamiliar. One man, wearing a uniform that spoke of authority and experience, approached them. "Welcome back," he said. "I am Dr. Aaron Blake." Evan recognized the name from old history records. Dr. Blake had been a strategist during Earth's earlier conflicts. He had led missions that saved the planet during dangerous times. Dr. Blake, Evan said, stepping forward. It's been a long time. Dr. Blake nodded. It has. You have traveled far and faced rejection. But now you are home. And Earth has changed while you were gone. Maya stepped forward. We don't understand. Why send the message? Why now? Dr. Blake led them into one of the large moon facilities. Inside, the walls were lined with screens, holograms, and strange devices. Energy flowed through the floor's invisible currents, and the air hummed with power. Earth has made discoveries. Dr. Blake said. Ancient human technology buried under the oceans, hidden for thousands of years, has given us the knowledge to advance faster than ever before. We are ready for what is coming. Kyle frowned. What is coming? Dr. Blake's face turned serious. A coalition of alien civilizations has been planning to attack or destroy humanity. They see us as weak, and they assume we are divided. They are wrong. Evan felt a chill. And they would have attacked when we were away? Yes, Dr. Blake said. Your journey was not in vain. The time you spent negotiating and failing gave Earth the opportunity to grow in secret. It kept the aliens focused elsewhere, distracted by your presence. Your failures became our advantage. Lena looked around the room. So we were a distraction? In a way, Dr. Blake said. But not without value. You learned about alien cultures, their strengths, and their weaknesses. That knowledge is now crucial for Earth. Maya's eyes widened. So we weren't failures? Dr. Blake smiled slightly. No. You were essential. You just did not know it at the time. Evan rubbed his forehead. This is a lot to take in. Dr. Blake led them to a large window overlooking Earth. Look at your home, he said. The planet gleamed under the sun, and its cities glowed with energy. Large ships moved in formation above the surface. It was beautiful, and yet it carried a silent warning. The planet has changed while you were away, Dr. Blake said. We have been preparing for a moment like this. And now, it is here. Lena turned to him. Preparing for what? The aliens? Dr. Blake nodded. Yes. And more. The galaxy is watching. Many believed humanity would remain weak and scattered. Many thought we would never survive without help. But we did. Quietly, carefully. And now, it is time to step forward. Kyle looked around at the technology, the ships, and the glowing energy fields. This is incredible. I don't know what to say. You will say nothing, Dr. Blake said gently. For now, watch and learn. You must understand what Earth has become before you can help us face the challenge ahead. The crew followed him through the facility. Every corridor hummed with energy. Machines glowed with power that none of them fully understood. Screens displayed alien fleets, reports of planetary movements, and simulations of battles. Everything was ready, but everything had been hidden until now. Maya paused in front of a screen. All of this was built without us knowing? Dr. Blake nodded. Yes. And it had to be. If the aliens knew what we were building, they would have attacked before we were ready. Evan felt a weight lift from his shoulders. They had traveled so far, faced rejection, and thought their efforts were wasted. But in truth, they had given Earth the time it needed. Their journey had mattered, even if they did not know it. Dr. Blake stopped before a large holographic display of the solar system. These are the fleets you will help guide. Your knowledge of alien behavior, diplomacy, and strategy is now essential. The time of being exiled is over. You are part of the defense and future of humanity. Lena's voice was quiet. And the aliens? They still think we are weak? Dr. Blake smiled. Yes, and they will soon learn the truth. The crew moved deeper into the facility, each step bringing them closer to the truth of what Earth had become. Every corner held new technology, new possibilities, and new hope. It was hard to believe that this was the same planet they had left months ago. The same Earth that had sent them into the void only to be rejected by the stars. Evan turned to the others. "We have to be ready," he said. "We have no idea what is coming. But we will face it together." Maya nodded. "And we will protect Earth, no matter what." Kyle's eyes gleamed with determination. "We know the galaxy. We know what to expect. Now we use that knowledge to help humanity." Lena smiled softly. "We finally get to make a difference again." Dr. Blake watched them, silently proud. "The time of exile is over. Humanity will no longer be underestimated. And you, who were cast out and rejected, are now the key to everything." Outside the facility, Earth glowed under the sun. Its cities, fleets, and defenses were ready. The planet that had been called weak, unprepared, and insignificant now stood strong, waiting for the moment to show the galaxy its true power. The crew felt a new energy flow through them. Months of disappointment, fear, and uncertainty melted away. They were home. And this time, they were not returning to plead for help or forgiveness. They were returning as part of a force that would shape the future. Evan looked at the others and smiled. "Let's get to work." Maya, Kyle, and Lena nodded. For the first time in a long time, they felt hope. They felt purpose. And they knew that whatever the galaxy sent next, humanity would meet it with strength, courage, and unity. The journey back to Earth had been long and full of rejection. But now the planet itself had called them home. And they would answer that call. The sun shone over Earth with a brightness that seemed sharper than the crew remembered. Evan Brooks stood on the observation deck of the moon facility, looking at the planet below. The cities gleamed with light, and fleets moved in quiet, powerful formations above the surface. It was beautiful. And it was strong. This was not the Earth they had left. It was a planet transformed, and now it was waiting for the rest of the galaxy to notice. Lena Rivers stood beside him, arms crossed, watching the movements of the ships in orbit. "I never imagined it could be like this," she said softly. "All those years, all that waiting, and now it's like we've returned to a new world." Kyle Porter adjusted the display on his tablet. "And the aliens still think we are weak," he said. "They don't know what's coming. They think humanity is the same as before." Maya Lane moved closer to the window, her eyes wide with both excitement and caution. "We have to be careful. Just because we are stronger doesn't mean they will stop trying to destroy us." Evan nodded. "I know. But now we have a choice. We can respond, or we can wait for them to strike. And I say we show them that Earth is not to be underestimated." The first sign came hours later. Sensors picked up a massive alien fleet moving toward the solar system. Evan gathered the crew in the command room. The fleet was large, faster than expected, and it carried weapons the crew had never seen in action. "They think we are unprepared," Evan said quietly. "They think we are the same humans they rejected. They are about to find out they were wrong." Dr. Aaron Blake joined them, his face calm but serious. "This is why we prepared," he said. "This fleet does not know the strength humanity has gained. And it never will. If we respond wisely." Lena looked at the screens. "We have the ships, the weapons, and the energy fields. But it's not just that. We also have the knowledge from our mission. The aliens will not expect our strategies." Maya nodded. "We know how they think. We know how they negotiate, how they react, and how they fight. That's a huge advantage." Kyle smiled faintly. "They assume they can intimidate us. But we've learned what fear looks like from the other side, and now we can use that knowledge to protect ourselves." Evan gave a firm nod. "Then we make our move. Let's get ready to show them what humanity is capable of." The alien fleet approached quietly, almost like hunters stalking their prey. But as they entered the outer solar system, they found something they had not expected. Human ships, larger than any of the aliens had seen before, moved in precise formations, forming a protective ring around Earth. Energy fields shimmered above the planet's surface, invisible to the naked eye but deadly to anything that tried to pass. The aliens launched a small attack first, testing the defenses. Their weapons fired, bright bolts of energy cutting through the dark. But the shields absorbed them easily. The alien ships trembled as they met resistance, unable to cause any damage. Evan, standing at the command deck, felt a strange satisfaction. They think they are testing us. Let's show them how wrong they are. The human fleet did not attack immediately. Instead, they moved with perfect coordination, positioning themselves to disable the enemy without unnecessary destruction. Holographic projections showed the alien ships' weaknesses, and the human ships targeted them with precise strikes. Weapons fired, but only to disable, not destroy. Maya watched the display. "It's amazing," she said. "We're protecting Earth without killing anyone. And they have no idea what's happening until it's too late." Kyle grinned. "That's strategy. They assumed humans act with emotion and chaos. But we are proving them wrong." On the alien command ship, confusion spread. Their strike had failed, and their scouts reported that their weapons were being neutralized without anyone being harmed. They had expected humans to panic, to retreat, or to beg for peace. Instead, humanity was standing calm, prepared, and united. Evan watched as the alien fleet hesitated. "Now," he said, "make it clear that Earth will not bow." "No." Lena activated the communications array and sent a simple message across the fleet. "We are not weak. We are not divided. We are humans, and we will no longer be underestimated. Leave now, or face the consequences of your assumptions." There was silence. The alien commanders could not believe what they were seeing. No fear, no desperation, only confidence and strength. For the first time, they realized they had misjudged humanity. The aliens tried one more test strike, a larger one aimed directly at Earth. The shields absorbed the attack. But instead of retaliating with destruction, the human fleet executed a coordinated move that disabled the enemy weapons and immobilized their ships. It was a display of power without cruelty, a demonstration of control that left the aliens stunned. Maya leaned back, exhaling slowly. "They don't know what to do. They've never seen humans like this." Kyle nodded. "And now, they're learning. Humanity has grown stronger than they could imagine." Dr. Blake turned to the crew. "This is the moment we have prepared for. You are the ones who traveled across the stars, who faced rejection and failure, and who gained the knowledge to guide us. You are why Earth can stand like this today." Evan felt a sense of pride he had not felt in years. The fear, the exhaustion, the endless travel, all of it, had led to this moment. They had been rejected by every world, cast out into space, but now they were central to humanity's survival and its future. The alien fleet began to retreat. Not because of destruction, but because they realized they had underestimated humans. Earth had defended itself, and in doing so, it had sent a clear message. Humanity was united, strong, and ready. Lena watched the alien ships disappear into the distance. "They will never forget this," she said. "And they will never try the same again." Evan turned to his crew. "We did this together. Not just the four of us, but everyone who built this planet while we were gone. Every scientist, every engineer, every soldier, they made this possible. And we helped, even if we didn't know it at the time." Maya smiled. "We are part of something bigger now. We are home, and we are needed." Kyle looked at the stars. "The galaxy will think twice before rejecting us again. Humanity has arrived." Dr. Blake led them back into the main facility. "There is more work to do," he said. "The aliens will come back, and others may join them. But now we know our strength. Now we know that we do not need to beg for allies. We can stand on our own, and we can protect what is ours." The crew moved through the facility, observing the new technology, the advanced ships, and the energy systems that made all of this possible. It was overwhelming, but it was also inspiring. Every corner held something new, a reminder that Earth had been preparing silently for years. Evan paused before a large viewing window, looking down at the planet below. "We almost lost hope," he said softly. "We thought the galaxy had rejected us, that no one wanted humanity. But now we see the truth. Every world may have turned us away, but Earth always believed in itself." Lena stood beside him. "And now the galaxy will see it too," Maya added. "We are no longer the humans who were afraid or desperate. We are the humans who learned, who survived, and who returned stronger." Unquote. Kyle nodded. "And the rest of the galaxy will have to respect that." The crew spent the next few days coordinating with Earth's command centers, learning about the new fleets, the advanced technology, and the plans for defense and exploration. They shared their knowledge of alien cultures, strategies, and communication, helping Earth refine its approaches. The once small, uncertain team of diplomats had become key advisors to a planet on the rise. Dr. Blake gathered them one evening. "You were rejected by every world, sent away into space, and faced hardships no one else could imagine," he said. "But your journey was never wasted. It brought knowledge, experience, and courage. Now, you are home, and you are central to the future of humanity." Evan felt a lump in his throat. "I never imagined it would end like this," he said. "I thought we had failed, that we were forgotten. But Earth never forgot us, and now we see why." Lena smiled softly. "Sometimes the world rejects you, not because you are weak, but because it knows you need to grow on your own first." Maya looked out the window at the stars beyond. "And now, we are ready for whatever comes next." Kyle added, "No one will ever underestimate us again." Outside, Earth glowed with life and power. The planet had been called weak, rejected, and overlooked. But now, it stood strong and united, ready to face the galaxy with confidence. Humanity had learned, grown, and returned stronger than ever. Evan, Lena, Kyle, and Maya stood together, looking at the planet they had once thought in danger and now knew would thrive. The journey had been long and filled with rejection, but it had led them home, and home was where they would stand, unshakable, proud, and ready to show the universe the strength of humanity. The stars stretched endlessly beyond them, silent witnesses to the rise of a people who had been cast out, ignored, and doubted. And yet, here they were, returning not in fear, but in power. Every world that had rejected them would soon learn that Earth was no longer the same, and humanity would never again be underestimated. Evan turned to the others one last time. "We are home," he said, "and from now on, the galaxy will have to remember that." They watched the planet together, knowing that the story of humans was no longer one of weakness and exile, but of strength, resilience, and unity. The message they had once received, simple and emotional, had guided them home, and now, humanity's place in the stars was secure, and every world that had once rejected them would learn to respect and fear the power they had grown to wield.